Okay, guys, I believe this is the moment that you have all been waiting for. Blood work results. I had my blood drawn a month ago, and I have all of the results right in front of me. Now, I am by no means an expert in analyzing or reading blood work. That's why I hired Jevity to do all of my blood work for me, analyzing it and then explaining it to me so that I understand it. I didn't get my blood work done to prove that I am natural or not. I already know the answer to that. I got my blood drawn so that I can understand how healthy I really am and if there's anything that I can do to make improvements and make myself better and healthier. Jevity tested 99 plus biomarkers in my blood. When I go for my normal physical, they usually test no more than 20. So this is a full in-depth analysis of all of my blood work. First, I'm going to go over what the results showed, and then I'm going to show you exactly what my blood work looked like. It's important to understand that you do have fluctuations in all of your blood work depending on when you take it, how much sleep you've had, what your cortisol levels are. So there are a lot of different factors that go into all of these results. I've got to admit, I was a little bit surprised when I got my blood work back. I've got a history of cancer that runs in my family. I've got a history of cardiovascular disease that runs in my family. I have lived a very, very healthy life since I was 8 years old. So there's really not a whole heck of a lot more that I can do as far as exercising and keeping myself healthy. So what else is there? Obviously, supplementing to find out exactly what I can do to optimize my blood. Now, I want you to keep something in mind when I show you these results. There is a difference between optimal blood work and healthy blood work. Optimal just means that you want it as best as it can be. Healthy may fall a little bit below those optimal numbers or a little bit above those optimal numbers. But you have to understand that optimal is different than healthy. Now, I've got to be honest, when I got my blood work back, there were a few things that surprised me and concerned me. Things that I had no idea were going on, things that I was deficient in, things that were a little too high. Let's get to the blood work right now, and I'm going to tell you exactly what those markers were. Okay, so I had 99 biomarkers tested. If you take a look here, it breaks it down into critical, caution, borderline, optimal, borderline, caution, critical. I had 1 that was critical, 13 that were caution, 20 that were borderline, and 52 of the 99 that were optimal. Now, your total score merges lifestyle metrics and blood biomarker data into a single health index. So I've got a health index of 67.5. I am going to be measured every 6 months, and that's part of this plan. You get measured every 6 months to see if the plan that they put together for you is working or if it's not working. So hopefully that index goes up the next time. Now, what I'm going to show you next raised my eyebrows. This is the probability of dysfunction. So you can see it says here, these probabilities are calculated by analyzing your key biomarkers in each functional system. First thing, thyroid dysfunction. I have never had a problem with my thyroid in my entire life. Again, keep in mind, I had your basic biomarkers tested that you get at your regular physical every single year, nothing extremely in-depth. So this to me was extremely concerning. Why would I have the possibility of dysfunction likely? I don't know. We're going to get into that a little bit. Sex hormone function, 73% of dysfunction likely. Now, I knew from a previous blood test that my SGBH, sex hormone binding globulin, was high. Now, what does that mean that my SGBH is high? It means that this particular hormone is binding to my free testosterone in my blood, making it unavailable for my body to use. So what do you have to do? You've got to get the SGBH down. Liver function. 69% chance of dysfunction. Now, I've known since I got measured in my early 20s when I was competing as a professional athlete in the sport of duathlon, which for those of you that don't know is running and cycling. I was ranked 25th in the world, number 2 in the United States in the year 2000, if you want to look it up. I was in the best shape of my life, but my liver enzymes were high, specifically my ALT levels and my BUN levels. So I've known this, and actually to the point where my internist in my 40s said, look, we've got to check your liver enzymes. We have to see if you've got hepatitis C, or there is one other possibility for these enzymes to be raised: intense physical exercise. And it's very, very intense physical exercise, and it's what I was doing, what I do now, what I've done my entire life. So we had the hepatitis C test done. I don't have hepatitis C. It was ruled by jury that my liver enzymes were elevated because of the intense physical exercise. My liver kicks off these enzymes into the blood, and then the blood work shows that these enzymes are high. I've never had anything done with it. The results come back just about the same every single year, and my doctor always tells me there's nothing to worry about. Kidney function looks like 62% chance of kidney dysfunction, 57% of gallbladder dysfunction, 54% of GI dysfunction. Now, the GI function at 54% makes total sense to me. I actually have a history of dysfunction. I've got gastric reflux disease. I have had esophageal rings removed from my esophagus. I've got a hiatal hernia. I had 7 lesions biopsied from my esophagus to make sure that I was good. Everything turned out all right. It all started when I got serious heartburn years ago. And the heartburn got so bad that I could eventually barely swallow things, even water. And I knew when I could barely swallow water and I had this pain in my chest because it wouldn't go down that I had a problem. So I scheduled an endoscopy. They found esophageal rings where my esophagus meets my stomach. They went in there with a balloon, blew them up, opened it up, have not had a problem since. I was put on Protonix. I was put on omeprazole. Now, what I learned after talking to my healthcare specialist was that by taking omeprazole, I may have totally changed the function of my GI tract, and that came through in my blood work. Now, when I looked at my thyroid function and saw that there was an 89% chance of dysfunction, that alarmed me. So I started to do some research. What could possibly have changed that would have caused this to happen? And there was one thing that I found. I was put on Lexapro 2 years ago. Less than 5% of the people that take Lexapro will have thyroid dysfunction. That's part of the mechanics of the Lexapro. So my thyroid numbers are askew. They are not completely off, but they're definitely askew. Now, if we take a look at my liver function, again, at 69% chance of dysfunction, same thing. Lexapro. Less than 5% chance that it will completely throw off your lipid panel. And I'm going to get to my lipid results and my cholesterol results a little bit later. And when you see them, it is going to be pretty alarming. At least it was pretty alarming for me as someone who has never ever had high cholesterol, but has also had problems with low HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and relatively high LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. All right, let's get right to the assessment. This assessment takes into account my functional body systems and, of course, nutrient deficiency. Here are all of the probabilities of dysfunction in my blood, and you can take a look at all of them. It shows that there is a possibility at 50 to 70%, likely 70 to 90%, and highly likely 90 to 100% chance of dysfunction, depending on where your numbers fall. So if you take a look at this first, my thyroid function falls at 89%, so just before the highly likely probability of dysfunction. Everything else, either in the likely or possible, all the way down to immune function, blood sugar regulation, adrenal function. So everything looked pretty good there. Now, this one surprised me a lot. I thought my diet was fine. I've had no problems. I didn't think I was nutrient deficient in anything. However, I was sadly surprised. If you take a look here, it says that I need DHEA. Highly likely, 100% likelihood that I need this. Vitamin D, same thing, 100% chance. Glutathione needed. I honestly don't know what glutathione is, nor do I care. Magnesium, there's a likelihood that I am deficient in magnesium. Looks like everything else I am pretty good with. And then we take a look at why these nutrients are needed. Why are they needed if they are deficient? It tells you exactly why, it gives you the rationale, and it gives you the biomarkers considered. So there's my vitamin D since everything was low. Electrolytes. Looks like all of my electrolytes are normal. Dioxide, sodium, potassium ratio, everything is good and normal there. Here's my metabolic biomarkers. Protein, this better be optimal. Looks like it is optimal. Albumin, optimal, below, above. So again, they're real close. Liver and gallbladder. This is probably one that some of the natty or not police are going to want to look at least I think they will. AST to ALT ratio. This is what I said was always a little bit high. I am at the above optimal limit, just about on the border of being high. Don't know if it's horrifically bad or okay. Lipids. Now this one was very concerning for me considering that I've got a history of cardiovascular disease in my family. Every single one of my mom's siblings, including my mom's mom, my grandmother, all had multiple heart attacks. However, all lived well into their 90s. So it doesn't mean just because your cholesterol is high that you're going to die and have a heart attack right away. All of my relatives, again, lived well into their 90s, did have multiple heart attacks and bypasses and all that mess, but still, They lived relatively healthy up into their end days. My cholesterol has never been above 189, and I had it measured on the day that I was prescribed Lexapro. This is not to bash Lexapro. I've had a lot of benefits from it. It's calmed me down, it's evened me out. I don't know if it's taken away too much of my zest for life, but it has helped a lot. Now, this cholesterol reading of 224 made me think, I've got to research why this happened. Now, I said this before, and this is what I learned through my research. There is less than 5% chance, and all the people that take Lexapro, that it can skew your lipid panel. And this clearly is skewed. Never been above 200 before. My mother's cholesterol is way into the 400s without cholesterol medication. I have managed to maybe inherit from someone else, and mine's remained low most of my life. Triglycerides, optimal. LDL cholesterol, very high. Already knew that, but it was never this high. Again, I think the jump came from the Lexapro, but I can't say with 100% certainty. HDL cholesterol, always been low until I started adding healthy fats into my diet. I was always the guy that never ate fat, low-fat diet, and my HDL was always low, so when I introduced healthy, polyunsaturated, monounsaturated fats into my diet, it helped a lot. This is below optimal, but it's better than it was. It used to be 39. I've gotten it up to 63, and here I am back at 53. So not horrible. Non-HDL cholesterol high. VLDL, about optimal. So the rest of them, pretty good. Nothing else really surprising. Same thing with my lipoproteins. Here we go. Hormones, DHEA. All right, so I'm low in DHEA. DHEA declines as you get older. I'm 53 years old. That's not surprising to me. Never thought about supplementing it. I know a lot of people that are supplementing with it and have never had a problem with it. Not something I've ever taken. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, optimal. And it's my understanding, again, I'm not a natty or not police, but it's my understanding that these levels here would be crazy off the charts if I was taking TRT or steroids or growth hormone or any of that stuff. Luteinizing hormone, boom, optimal. Total testosterone. Now, I always laugh, inside at least, and sometimes outwardly, when someone says he's got to be on testosterone replacement therapy, he's got to be on TRT, hormone replacement therapy. Why would I possibly want to supplement testosterone when I've already got a full glass of it? To me, that would be dangerous, and that would be taking it for anabolic purposes. There's no reason for me to supplement or need replacement of testosterone that my body already produces and technically produces in a pretty high volume. 1,116. Now remember, testosterone levels change. If you haven't gotten a lot of sleep, if your cortisol levels are high, if you're stressed out, if you're dehydrated, if you're not eating enough, which I learned I was not eating enough, your testosterone levels can fluctuate like waves in the ocean. So don't be totally concerned if sometimes you get a 800 reading, another time you get an 1100 reading. There are fluctuations that occur. Also, time of day. Early morning is the best time to take it when your testosterone levels are at their highest. If you take it in the afternoon, it's going to be completely different. Just understand that. Free testosterone. Now, I thought my free testosterone was low based on previous blood tests from my doctor. It looks like I'm slightly below optimal. So that's probably the reason why I'm able to maintain my muscles and possibly, hopefully, still be able to build. Sex hormone binding globulin is right at above optimal high. This is what I said before, binds to free testosterone, making it unavailable for your body to use. Bioavailable testosterone, borderline below optimal and optimal. So really not too concerned about it. Actually looks pretty good. Free testosterone, well, there you go, below optimal. So if I'm looking at my free testosterone, that really actually solidifies everything that I've already known, that my free testosterone was definitely low, but not horrifically low. Percent of free testosterone. So my percent of free testosterone is below optimal. So these are just different ways of looking at percentages versus numbers. CBCs, that is your complete blood count. Everything looks pretty good here. Hemoglobin's a little above optimal. So everything is looking pretty good here. And that is the end of my blood test results. So in 6 months, I'll be able to compare exactly what it was now versus what it is then. Now, after I had my blood test done, I set up a call with my Jevity care plan specialist, and she went over absolutely everything, kind of like I did with you, line by line, so that I understood it. She asked me what my concerns were, why I got the blood test done in the first place, and what I hope to get out of it. All right, so at the end, you can see there's my health concerns report. All of these things that I discussed needed support, and this is really detailed, okay? So I spoke with my Jevity specialist for about 40 minutes on Zoom, and she told me that they were gonna put together a healthcare plan, vitamins and minerals, and put me on it and see what the effects were after 6 months. How close could I be to optimal? Is it working? Is it not working? You know, what do we need to tweak? About 4 days later, I got my box. You can see right here, I got my box of all of my supplements. It is a gigantic wheel of supplements. And you can take a look here. This is exactly what they put me on. It shows me what I need to take in the morning and what I need to take in the evening. So I take pills in the morning, and in the evening, it looks like 7 pills in the morning, 7 pills at night. I've been on it for about 3 weeks now, give or take. So here is my morning batch, and there is my PM batch. That way I don't get confused. We've got bergamot, stress management, DHEA, methyl support, omega 600, zinc glycinate for the morning, then stress management, curcumin, A2, D3, liver support, L-theanate. So I've had some stomach issues. I'm off for about a week, and then we're going to reintroduce some of these things slowly to make sure that I don't have any issues with it. So now you have my complete blood work. I am going to do another hormone test in about 2 weeks, and then I'm going to do it every 4 weeks. I'm going to show you exactly what those results show based on what I've been taking. Is it helping? Is it not? You can order as many tests as you want. I am choosing to add extra tests in this program because I really want to monitor what everything is doing for me and if I need to remove some things or I need to add some things. Now, Natty or not police or anybody in the know, look at my blood work, tell me what you think, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. It was a discovery for me. I really learned a lot from this entire process. Now, if you're interested in the Jevity program, the same program that I'm doing, I've got it linked in the description. There is a long wait list. However, I have been provided with a code that allows you to skip the wait list and get 15% off of the service. It is a monthly service. You get charged every month. For personal monitoring, you've got your own healthcare specialist. You get retested every 6 months. That's all part of the program. For me, it's been eye-opening, and most likely it will be eye-opening for you as well. So if you are interested, check them out in the description.